Alright, this is our pregame versus Darkness1852, one of our good friends at TPX. Of course, that would have to be true since this is the TPX draft. Anyway, so we're going to do pregame for this one, and let's look at his team. His OUs are, it's not the first three he picked. He picked Weavile, which is the one that made Magnitude stop shoutcasting, so that was a questionable OU pick, but he's got those two, and Flygon as his OUs. For UUs, he has Houndoom and Steelix, which Darkness and I have a story with that, but I'm not going to talk about it on here. He also has Primeape, which is a UU, and I think Kanga's also a UU. I double checked that because I thought it might be NU, but it's kind of too good for that. So that means that he will have Haunter and Shuckle, so that's going to play a role in stuff. I'm just gonna go right ahead and say that I really think he's gonna bring Tentacruel. It straight out counters Ape, pretty much. It's actually this Tentacruel is the reason I thought about putting Earthquake on Machamp, especially since I'm 4 attacks Machamp anyway. But ultimately I did not. I don't really have anyone to do great against it. It's also gonna be someone to set up T-spikes and someone to spin, so there's that too. Toxic Stalling it is not going to work, and the guy I have with ground is weak to stab water, and I guess I've got Discharge, but Tentacruel's pretty especially bulky, and that's probably going to be like a 5 or 6 hit KO, depending on how bulky he makes it, or who knows, maybe he'll make it a Specs Tentacruel or something, but I doubt it. I think he'll just go utility. Seems to be the best fit for his team. He already has a couple of good special attackers. I guess if you want to call Haunter a good special attacker, that's fine. And of course Houndoom. So definitely some room for variance. I feel like he'll probably bring Houndoom and Steelix against me just for the sake of bringing those two. For reasons. But anyway, so we know we got our two NUs, our two UUs, and now the question is, who are we going to bring for the two OUs? Beat has served me very well so far. I've done versus Maycron versus Sexy, and Beat has been absolutely clutch in those, or at least it would have been clutch versus Sexy. But I think this might finally be Beat's time to take a seat, and let's let Machamp come back in and try something. Beat wasn't very clutch against Andrew also, I guess. I keep forgetting about that one. That's the only one I didn't do pregame for. So I think I really want Busteraji because he does have a Steelix. He does have this, which, I don't know if he'll bring that over Flygon, but, Ape is going to be pretty good against 2 of his 3 OUs. If his Flygon is not Scarf, that's something I need to find out. I've got Hidden Power Ice for it, and then of course Weavile can't learn Earthquake despite what Kowalski once tried to do. So Weavile can't damage, well, I guess Brick Break would still deal some good damage, but I've definitely got fighting for that. I've got fighting for this, I've got fire for that, I've got fighting for this. Even if I don't bring Beat, I still have another nasty plotter, so I can still take on Shuckle pretty well. So yeah, definitely want to bring Busteraji. He pretty much beats 3 of the 4 UUs, and he's got a chance of being able to beat 2 of the OUs, and he can also just kill Shuckle. So that's good. Thinking about who else between Beat and Machamp. If the Machamp is obviously quite a bit bulkier than Infernape, I believe. So I'm thinking about bringing. Actually, let me check and see how much bulkier he is. Alright, so he's a little bit bulkier. Here's my Infernape, 289 HP, 150. That should be the right IVs and stuff, I think. Yeah, probably. 289 HP, 159 defense, 178 special defense. So I've got about over 50 more HP, 70-ish, no, 60-ish more HP. I've got about 160 versus... Okay, I've got about 40 more defense and about 20, roughly 2025 or something. I'm just eyeballing estimates instead of doing real math. Social defense. So yeah, Machamp is, I mean, he's not super bulkier like Beat is. Beat is, I'm pretty sure, way bulkier than either of those. Let me just slap that in for comparison while we're utilizing the damage calc thing here. So this is why I love this calc. I just paste my stuff in. I also just recently figured out how to just miscellaneous moves. That allows you to pick from the drop down. Like in this case, you know, just your two attacks that your set has. I don't know why it defaults to Lucky Punch instead of Lum. I guess because it's the first thing that starts with L, and I also don't know why it starts with Serene Grace. Maybe that's just... Did I just not put that? Oh, that's probably why, because I'm an idiot. But I did put ability, so whatever. Neither of those really affect the damage calculation, so I didn't bother changing it, I guess. Beat, of course, has more HP than Machamp, and a good bit more defense as well. So, and of course has recovery, so that's nice as well. Machamp does have Ice Punch. It's probably the best thing. I mean, Tentacruel can't really switch in completely unimpeded, since, you know, it's gonna get or it can get D-punched. It's also gonna be decent at hitting Kangaskhan, and, you know, most similar to Ape, it's gonna be good at hitting most of the UUs. Primeape I can probably pretty much shut down with Claydol. It's, I think, an unstab dark move. I'm sure it can learn at least one of those. Lantern should be able to absorb punishment from Houndoom, and it should be faster than Steelix at any rate. I don't like him versus Flygon though. That stab ground is probably gonna knock him out, and yeah, he's probably gonna be my safest switch into Tentacruel, at least initially. As for how much hazards are gonna wreck his team, well, he's got Weavile. He's got a Shuckle that he's definitely going to have to bring. He's got a Haunter that's going to be frail, so it might have Sash. And he's got Houndoom. He also has one dude who 4x resist rocks, but, you know, rocks are probably going to be important. So I'm going to give Beat a rest, and I'm going to bring Machamp this game. Only reason I hate to do that is that takes away some of my capacity for things like Life Orb stalling. But I feel like some of the guys that I'd want to be taking hits from, I don't know if they'd have Life Orb or not anyway, and if they did, I feel like they might be a boosting move. Sorry, and I don't know, I kind of just want to bring Machamp again, so that's kind of all there is to it. That is what I originally wrote down, although I originally wrote it down versus Sexy 2 and then didn't go through with that, thank goodness. So we'll see if it's a good idea or a bad idea. I'll definitely be bringing Machamp versus Tubes, which I think is my only other West Division match remaining. So we'll go double fighting types this time. Of course, he may not even bring Weavile, but you know, Flygon doesn't have any boosting moves, so I can probably hit it with Ice Punch Machamp, and that'll be good. And I don't know. These two, I think, should just have good offensive matchups. It's just, can I prevent them from, you know, taking unnecessary hits? So it's going to be this game. Claydol's still going to be the lead to get, you know, something and try to set the momentum. And the only thing is, I would hate it if Tentacruel was his lead. I'm not sure what I would do in that situation. I guess I just switched to Lantern, but you know, there's like I have to run some calcs if it ever becomes an option. So stay tuned for that, and see you in a second.
Alright, let's get this underway. It's going to be the first battle where I do not bring Beat, so we're going to see how this plays out. I'm not going to have good prognostications on this, but we're going to start out with Reaverbot, and he's going to start out with Flygon. So Flygon's got a lot of options it can do. Normally we want to go for Stealth Rock, but I think I'm going to get a little bit greedy here and try to go for an Ice Beam in case it stays in. And in fact, he U-turns out. And yeah, super effective. It's a good move. And drops in Houndoom. Yuck. Ice Beam's not going to do much at all. And now I got to think about what to do here. I do have Earth Power and I could probably live something like a flamethrower if it wants to predict a switch. So maybe just stay in an earth power, and that might pick up the kill actually. Alternately, I could go to Buster G, who would resist either stab, and then could threaten back with close combat. So I think that's actually what we're going to try to do here. Save as many hit points on Reaverbot as possible, and try to get something going on. And he has Pursuit, and actually gets a crit, and that wipes out the rest of Reaverbot. That was pretty huge. I think he said he calced it at doing maybe like 40%, so absolutely a huge crit right there. And once again, recurring theme, Reaverbot goes down and does virtually nothing, which is very sad. So much potential, but it's like something always happens and he just doesn't work out. So anyway, Buster G's in here now. That is the guy I wanted to have in at least, but I wanted to have him in and not have Claydol dead. So we can threaten close combat. I don't think he's very keen on staying in, so maybe a nasty plot will be okay. But we're just going to go for a close combat, go for a safe move. It's not really going to reveal too much about the set. I do show him Life Orb, but it could still just be, non-nasty plot Life Orb. Could be Swords Dance. Anything, really. So Shuckle. Guess I'm going to go to something that can break down a wall. Shuckle's almost certainly going to have Toxic, but I'd like to get him Toxic as well. So that is indeed what he goes for, as we get Shadow Man poisoned. Horrible, horrible, worst thing that can happen to him. We do have Aromatherapy at our disposal, but he's probably got Tentacruel as well. So goes into Houndoom again and takes some damage from Nightshade. It's probably about the best move I could have made there. Maybe Toxic, but I think just getting the damage on there is probably superior in that case. So we're just going to drop in Flashman, try to take a Flamethrower, Fire Blast, there we go, and takes it. It seems like Flashman just does not take special hits as well as I'm used to, but maybe I'm holding him to Gastrodon and Blissey standards when I probably should not be. I believe we see Life Orb there, so we can certainly pick up a kill with Flamethrower. Maybe we want to go for Discharge instead, just to be safe. Just go for the Surf, go for the safe move. And yep, here's Tentacruel. Definitely the number one thing I was thinking he would bring, almost for sure. And now I'm in a bit of a prediction war here. Certainly we'd like to, sling Discharge everywhere. So turn 1, I'm going to go ahead and throw Discharge out there and see how much it does. And it doesn't do very much at all. I'd like to keep using it and get Paralysis, but at the same time, I'd like to be Flygon safe for that coming in. So I Ice Beam as he stays in. He's got 2 layers of Toxic Spikes up now, which is bad, since my spinner died to a crit once again. But anyway, we're going to go for Ice Beam again as he's going to Surf, and neither of us are really accomplishing anything at this point. So it's just kind of a matter of who's going to give first, and I'm just going to keep going with Ice Beam. And look at that, he actually sends in Flygon. Yes, yes, yes. Hippo emote. So we're going to Ice Beam this thing, and down it. What? It lived, and I'm very, very sad at this fact, and we're going to have to get out of here to somebody else. And that's going to be Iceman, so we're just going to U-turn right back out. We don't have Stealth Rocks up or anything, so this Flygon is living. Kind of like that, what was it, Standard 25 against Xerxes? It's suddenly reminding me of that. But in comes the Angry Mama. It does not have 2 attacks in this generation, but it does have a Sub Punch, and that's what it's going to, I believe, go for here. Yep, it goes for a Sub, which is going to make Toxic completely ineffective, which is going to make this guy completely ineffective in general. The best thing we're going to be able to accomplish against it is whoop-de-whoop, Mud Slap. So we could switch to somebody, but then they're going to take probably a Focus Punch, and yeah, it seems like Iceman is always just the least useful guy on the team. I feel like he's got like potential with annoying walls. The 2 NUs I have are kind of like anti-walls, I guess you could say. But yeah, Iceman's definitely the less effective of the 2. So Mud Slap, we're just gonna maybe chip a few HP off the Sub A, and Focus Punches actually survives the Focus Punch, which is kind of nice, but it's not really gonna make that big a difference whatsoever. He's just going to finish me off with a return. We can click some move, I guess, if I want to. Doesn't really matter. Iceman's going to go down, and Now, probably the only guy I've got who can really have a chance to live something is going to be Gutsman. So that's who we're going to drop in here. We're going to have to break the sub and then, I don't know, attempt to do something after that. I don't know who else is going to be able to take it once the sub is gone, but we're definitely going to go for Dynamic Punch. And he's not going to waste a good sub. He's going to go for Focus Punch. It's going to be roughly the same power as Return. And Focus Punch does a lot. And, wait, that was another crit? At the time I was like, this probably wasn't a crit. It's just how much it did. But no, that was a crit too. If that didn't crit there, then I could have lived 2 of them. And that would have been another attack I would have had off. So, oh well. What are we going to do here now? Crits have certainly had a huge impact on this game. And we're going to drop in Buster Rod G and just threaten a close combat at this point. Try to make whatever we can out of it. And I don't think we have any intention of actually going through with close combat, though. As there's a Tentacruel is still around. My entire moveset again is resisted by Tentacruel, so maybe I'm just going to try to nasty plot up. Maybe just switch out to somebody and someone who can deal with something better. And it's probably going to be Lantern, I would imagine. Lantern's going to be my safe option for Tentacruel. Neither of us are really going to get anywhere. Maybe I'll eventually fire off an Errant Paralysis on him, and I can use that to some kind of advantage with somebody else. Certainly taking my sweet time thinking about it here, but we're ultimately going to go to Lantern just to play safe for Tentacruel and see what he does about it. It's certainly a risk. You know, he could just put up a sub expecting me to, oh, he's going to bluff and going to switch. But Lantern's going to come in, and he's going to switch as well. And switches in Haunter, which as an NFE, we did allow NFEs, the NFEs that are just straight downgrades in this tournament, not stuff like Dragonair, which is different due to typing, and goes for Sludge Bomb, and holy moly, that did way more than I felt like it should have. The HP bar did not move. That means that is spexed, and I'm quite frankly flabbergasted at how much that did. Some special wall Flashman's being right here. Does surf, and you know he's not especially attackive, sure, but still doesn't do, I don't know, doesn't do as much as I wanted, certainly. So we're gonna go into Buster Rod G. I'm just gonna make a quick decision here to plot up and try to go for something, but he's just gonna stay in and keep bombing. I mean, whatever. I tried to make something happen and it didn't happen, so I don't really fault myself too much for that. But anyway, we're going to send in Shadow Man here. And at least we can pick up 1 kill here on the Flygon finally. So that's kind of nice, except for the way that Flashman's already dead. So, oh well. But here comes Kangaskhan again, and all we have is Shadow Man, who's not really going to be that effective with, you know, I'm not going to be able to Toxic it, and I obviously can't Nightshade it. So we're just going to let some music carry us out here.
Alright, Tubes pregame, let's go. So since last battle was against Darkness, which probably knocked me out of Top Cut, so this may or may not be the last pregame thing I do. I don't think I'm 100% mathematically eliminated, but it's pretty slim. Anyway, so let's start off with what we know, which is these two are no-nos, and these guys are going in. Alright, so let's look at Tubes' team. He just went with a 3-3-3 split, so he's got Gengar, Empoleon, and Snorlax as OUs, wisely choosing to save an OU for one of his later picks. For UUs, he has Hitmontop, Nidoking, and Altaria, and NUs, the 3 M's: Meganium, Magmortar, and Manectric. So you got a pretty good selection of NUs, I gotta say. Anyway, so a lot of unpredictability in all of his selections, whereas I've got, 4 guys who are kind of stuck here. Let's see, looking at what he's got here, I think Beat's definitely coming in this one. I didn't bring Beat in versus Darkness, and look what happened. And Beat should be pretty good against Hitmontop. It should be pretty good against Meganium. I think I cut part of Meganium's, whatever those are, antlers, feelers, I don't know, whatever they are. I cut part of them off. And those are really the only 2 it's really good against. But it's going to be able to flinch hack Snorlax as well, should that get brought. And with Water Pulse, it can also do some severe damage to Magmortar. And Speed, I don't think Togekiss learns Ice Beam. I was actually thinking about having it learn Ice Beam so I could have more ice on the team, but I don't think it actually learns it. So I gotta pick my fighting type for this. And Gengar's faster than Ape. Empoleon has access to Aqua Jet. Altaria can Dragon Dance and be faster than Ape. And I'm not 100% sure about Manectric, but I think he may be base 110 as well. So there's just a lot of guys who outspeed Ape. So I'd rather have a little bit more defense with Machamp. He does have Gengar, but I do have Payback, so we should be pretty solid there. As for which ones I think he'll bring, because this has been super accurate as of late. Let's see. Wow, I really don't know and don't really want to think about it too much now that I've just been wrong most of the time. As for who I'd like to see him bring, or who I think would be best, who I would bring up against my team. Well, it's hard to ever argue with Gengar, I guess. I do have a couple of, especially resilient guys, so that may deter it somewhat. I do have 2 fighting guys that may make him leery of that. I don't know if he'll be smart and use Thick Fat or Immunity Snorlax, or just go with Thick Fat. He does have, well, actually, let's see, he's got, how many ice? Okay, that resists fire, that resists ice, that resists fire. So he's only got 2. He's got 2 fire resist and 1 ice resist. So yeah, I don't know. He might use Thick Fat. If I see it, I'm definitely gonna try to Toxic it. If it doesn't work out, then whatever. But if you can ever actually get Snorlax Toxic, he becomes not even really too big of a threat. Which is why Immunity is way better. But anyway, Empoleon or Gengar? Just because I have Lantern, I don't think Empoleon would be that great. Although it's someone I can't Toxic. I can outspeed it unless it's a speed built set with not Claydol, or actually yes, with Claydol and Earth Power it, and doesn't really have any solid boosting moves to not like a Machamp Dynamic Punch. So I don't know, maybe Gengar would be a little bit better. It would outspeed Ape and could maybe do some decent stuff versus Machamp. I'm definitely more afraid of him bringing Altaria because I hate Dragon Dance always. Or wait, Altaria is a UU. There we go. Nidoking. Nidoking has a lot of options, so if he brings that, I'm gonna have to figure out what it's doing. Hopefully Hughes will know his tiers properly and not do like Sexy Melodic did. That was sort of lulzy. I don't know about Manectric. Magmortar he might see as important because of Regice, but Regice is sort of lol anyway. And Magmortar doesn't do that well against Lantern unless maybe it has Power Herb Solar Beam, but I don't think, I already made one goof versus Andrew thinking, oh, it could be Power Herb Solar Beam, I gotta get out of here, which was completely stupid. So I'm probably not going to predict anyone else to do that. Apparently only I would. I guess I shouldn't say only I, but it's something that I have on my Moltres, so I think it should be on every Moltres apparently, when clearly it should not. But I'm thinking no Empoleon, And I'm really not sure about the lower tier guys. I think Altaria definitely, just because Dragon Dance is super good. And I guess if you're bringing Altaria, you want to bring a spinner. So Hitmontop can also spin versus Ghost. He's one of maybe the only guy who can actually do that. I forget if there might be someone else. I suppose the rest of the Hitmons can as well, but you know, whatever. Nidoking. I don't know. I mean, Earthquake would be good versus Lantern, but eh. And Manectric, I've just got. I mean, I've got a special wall who absorbs thunder, or you know, another. It's commonly seen as a special wall guy who's also immune to electric, and then another special wall. So I'm thinking, and you know, he could have flamethrower and stuff, but you know, it's still unstab versus Regice. So I guess this would be my, if I had to pick 6, I guess this would be the 6 I would pick. But I'm definitely going to be prepared for, or be mindful of these two, and I guess mindful of Empoleon as well, but to a lesser extent, I guess, than these two. So that does it for this pregame, and now to the battle.